Hey everyone, welcome back. If you're running a small business, you know the pressure to post on social media is just constant. AI tools seem like the perfect answer, right? But a lot of the time, they just add to the noise. So today, we're diving into a really practical playbook on how to use AI to make your content genuinely better and more strategic, not just to make it faster. And yeah, this quote, it just nails the problem, doesn't it? We've all seen this stuff. When you just tell an AI to write a post, you get what the source calls AI junk food. Sure, it's grammatically correct, it sounds professional, but it has absolutely zero personality. It just vanishes into the endless scroll. And let's be real, you don't have time to waste creating content that doesn't even make a dent. Okay, so this is the core mindset shift we need to make. On the one hand, you've got this silver bullet approach. You treat the AI like a magic button, you ask it to write a post, and you get something generic back that kind of waters down your unique voice. But on the other hand, you can treat AI as a systems enabler. This is where you, the human, feed it your strategy, your insights, your point of view first. And what you get back is unique content that actually amplifies your judgment. The AI doesn't replace you, it just makes your great ideas more efficient. And that's what we're going to focus on today.
So here's our game plan. We'll start by really defining that AI junk food trap so we know what to avoid. Then we'll build the super important pre-AI blueprint. After that, it's all about a smart loop for generating ideas, making them work for each platform, building a pipeline to stay consistent, and finally, using real feedback to get smarter and smarter.
All right, first things first, let's really dig into the problem we're here to solve, that generic content trap. So what is AI junk food? Well, think of it like this. It's content that looks fine on the surface, but there's just nothing to it. It's totally empty calories. And it happens because the AI is missing two critical things that only you have. One, your deep, personal understanding of your audience, and two, your unique point of view. When you don't give the AI those ingredients, you're going to get bland, forgettable stuff every single time. And that brings us to what is honestly the most important part of this whole process. Before you even open up an AI tool, you have to build your strategic blueprint. This is where all the human magic happens. Okay, so your pre-AI brief has four key parts. First, you define your reader, and I love this part, your enemy. Now, this isn't a competitor, it's the bad advice or misinformation in your industry that you're fighting against. Second, you build your message architecture. Third, you define your voice with super clear "this is us" versus "this is not us" examples. And fourth, you set up safety fences, what you won't say. This whole document basically becomes the brain that you plug into the AI. Now, message architecture might sound a little complex, but it's really simple. Your pillars are your main content topics, the big ideas you always talk about, like myth-busting or customer concerns. Then your angles are the different ways you can talk about those pillars, like doing a before and after comparison or analyzing a common mistake. This structure is amazing because it lets you create tons of varied content that always stays on brand.
Okay, with our strategic brief in hand, we're ready for the fun part, generating content. But here's the key. We're not going to do this one post at a time. No. We're going to think like a production line.
This three-step loop is just brilliant. First, you ask the AI for a huge batch of ideas, like 50 angles, based on just one of your content pillars. This gives you a ton of variety to choose from. Then, for the best of those angles, you generate another huge batch of hooks or opening lines. And only then, once you've found the absolute best hooks, do you ask the AI to expand them into full posts. You're exploring all your options instead of just settling for the first idea that comes along. And here's the secret sauce, this little quality gate. Before you bother expanding a hook into a full post, you score it yourself. Is it clear? Is it unique? Does it hit on a real pain point for your customer? Give it a score, maybe out of 25. If it doesn't hit a high score, like a 20, you just toss it. This simple step saves you from wasting hours polishing a mediocre idea into a mediocre post. All right, so you've got these awesome, high-quality ideas. Now what? Well, you can't just copy-paste them everywhere. A great idea can totally flop if it's in the wrong format. You have to think of it this way. The core message is the same, but the container, the vessel, has to change for each platform. And this table just lays it out so clearly. On LinkedIn, the algorithm wants to see thoughtful comments. So your goal is to spark a conversation, maybe with a strong opinion. But on Instagram, the algorithm prizes saves and shares, so a useful, scannable carousel is your best bet. And then on TikTok, it's all about watch time, so you need a killer hook in the very first second. You're not just reposting, you're translating your idea for each different audience. So how on earth do you do all of this consistently without completely burning out? Well, the answer isn't about finding more willpower. It's about building a better system.
I absolutely love this quote. It's so freeing, right? Consistency isn't some magical trait you either have or you don't. It's just the natural result of a well-designed process, a pipeline. You stop relying on daily inspiration and start relying on a predictable schedule.
And what does that look like in the real world? Well, for most small businesses, aiming for 3 to 5 high-quality posts per week on your main platform is the sweet spot. That's frequent enough for the algorithm to notice you, but it's manageable enough that you can still maintain quality. The key is to pick a pace you know you can stick with for at least 90 days. And finally, we close the loop. You're putting content out there consistently. Now it's time to let the data from your real audience make your entire system smarter for the next batch. And please, forget about vanity metrics like likes. You want to look for the signals that show you what your audience actually finds valuable. For video, that's your completion rate. For platforms like LinkedIn and Instagram, it saves and shares. And honestly, the gold is in the comments. Are people asking the same questions over and over? Are they confused about the same thing? That is literally your content plan for next week, handed to you on a silver platter.
And hey, if you're still not convinced, check out this data from HubSpot. Marketers who already have an effective strategy are 185% more likely to use generative AI. So see, this isn't a shortcut for people who don't know what they're doing. It's a force multiplier for people who do.
And that brings us to the big takeaway for today. Your real advantage, especially as a small business, isn't your budget. It's your unique experience, your perspective, your judgment. You have to use AI to amplify those things, not to replace them. That is how you win this game.
So I'll leave you with a little homework. What's one uncomfortable truth in your industry, something your customers feel but nobody really talks about? Figure that out, and you've got the seed for your next piece of content. That is the first step to making your AI sound a whole lot more like you. Thanks for tuning in.